Alright, magandang gabi sa lahat and welcome to this episode of the BitPinas webcast where we interview the people who move this industry forward. My name is Michael Mislos and I'm the editor-in-chief of BitPinas, which we have been covering the crypto space here in the Philippines since 2017. So bagong lahat, isang paalala muna dito sa atin sa mga kaibigan sa Tesos Philippines where they will be hosting this Twitter space tomorrow at 8 p.m. at makakasama natin sila dyan wherein they will have this campaign no ng ang tawag dito TZ Apex. So to know more about that, please check out itong Tesos Philippines. And I think our friend na si Sip will be posting in the comment section itong link sa ating Twitter space. All right? So yun. Ayun, again, ako si Michael Mislos and this will be a very special episode for tonight. We have two guests, the CEO of Coins.ph na si Wei Zhou and si Jeff Zirlin, the CEO or the co-founder of Sky Mavis HQ. So we are going to talk about the PHPC stablecoin that is now on the Ronin blockchain. So bagong lahat, ang prizes natin for tonight, again, mamimigay tayo ng 2 RON. No? So dalawang RON, hindi yung pagkain, pero yung dalawang RON will be giving away 2 RON to 4 winners, no? 2 RON each to those who will answer our trivia Q&A correctly. May dalawang match ng trivia Q&A tayo mamaya. And of course, 2 winners then of 2 RON each to those who are active in our comment section. Alright, you must be following the BitPinas page and you must be sharing this stream. No, so follow BitPinas and you must share this live stream so people will know more about our webcast to get to know yung mga sasabihin ni Jihoz and ni Wei. So yun. So before we dive in, no, the biggest news no early this month, itong July nga lang, is the launch of the PHPC. So actually this got released or launched. Well, I think June nga siya nag-launch, no? Sa Coins.ph. And then, this month lang, nalista na siya or nalista siya sa first international DEX, ang Ronin blockchain. No? So, this is the first time that a stable coin that is approved by the Central Bank of the Philippines is listed outside of a local exchange. So, how did this news came about? And how does the PHPC actually align with the broader vision of Sky Mavis, the developers of Axie Infinity, and the Ronin blockchain? Kasi if you remember guys, diba, in 2021, we know of some merchants, diba, that are selling or that are exchanging their goods with SLP. I think narinig yun before, no? So, paano na lang siguro, no, kung may PHPC at that time. So, yun, to let us know more about this, the PHPC launch on Ronin, I will put on stage si Professor Jihoz, nakikita ko ngayon, Jeff Zirlin, the co-founder of Sky Mavis. So ayun, hi Jihoz, and thank you for joining us here at the BitPinas webcast.
Yeah, good morning, good evening, mabuhay. Yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Yes, thank you so much, no, for joining us here in the webcast. So, by the way, where are you? Are you at the other side of the world from the Philippines?
Yeah, I'm in the States now, so it's around 8 a.m.
Okay, so yeah, we will be joined by the CEO of PH, Wei Zhou at later. So maybe we can start with Jeff. Jeff, this could be a long time coming. I mentioned earlier, no, there was a time here in the Philippines, and by the way, I don't think Jeff needs introduction to our audience, no. Hi to you guys, Chito, Caperina, and NFT X Street. See you guys for joining. So yun. Jeb, I guess my first question to you, how does or walk me through on how did this came about on your side, on your end? Like how did Coins approach you that we are going to list PHPC, or is this has been on your time or on your pipeline before?
Well, let's go from the basics, right?
Sure.
What are we looking to do, right? So if you go to Sky Mavis's website, you see that we're here to bring economic freedom to everyone, starting with gamers, right? So our thesis is that if we go from one game, right, to scaling that game using our technology, Ronin, to then scaling a few games using that technology to then opening it up, scaling multiple games or almost infinite games. And then we have the ability to Trojan horse, right? To kind of smoothly introduce everyone in the world to this financial system that's 24/7, that's open to anyone, anywhere in the world, right? In a world where access to basic financial necessities and services is still not uniformly distributed. And there are people who, right, make all these reasons for certain countries being poorer or wealthier than others. But when you look at it, it's actually, right, property rights and access to financial services that determines the wealth of a nation and that nation's citizenry. And so our thesis is that, hey, we can actually do this with blockchain. And the best way to get people interested in it is with something that makes sense to them. It's with gaming, right? There are billions of gamers in the world. And so, all right, so that's the big picture. How does that apply, right, to this situation? I think it's quite easy, right, to see that even in the last cycle, right, Michael, as you mentioned, people were accepting SLP in the Philippines. Merchants were. And if you talk to them, though, right, some of the issues that they then encountered was, currency volatility, right? Even if they want to hold US dollars, right, even if they swap it into US dollars, it can be a little bit confusing. So to have the Philippine peso available as a medium of exchange on the Ronin network, something that you can swap to and from into, that makes it a lot easier, right, for our players to, cash out or even cash in, ease smoothly to the Ronin network, for merchant adoption. That's one of the things, right, that we faced with merchants. They're like, okay, we wouldn't, we're not going to hold RON or ETH or yet. We're just newbies to the industry. And actually, it's even hard for us to hold US dollars because, you're still taking on some currency fluctuation. The dollar is strong relatively now, I guess, relative to the yen and maybe the euro, but it's still like can be unpredictable, right? And there's a chance that it could go down a lot, right? Even relative to the peso, or it could go, or right, like the dollar could go up a lot against the peso, and that also creates like tax complications. So all of these issues are solved or mitigated by having the Philippine peso on the Ronin network. It's still early, but this is an experiment. I think it's also a statement that this Ronin network can become something way more than the Axie chain, right? And now it's the gaming chain. Now it's king of the gaming chains. But there's a path. There's a very narrow path, but it's very well defined towards becoming the largest blockchain, all-purpose blockchain in the world. I mean, I don't think it's so hard to imagine. We're already the second most used chain by daily active addresses, and this is still a chain with a relatively small number of applications on it.
All right. Thank you so much. No, and it's actually true. When at BitPinas, we regularly cover Sky Mavis, the blockchain, the gaming ecosystem in particular, and that is actually true. No, the number of users are relative versus the other chains. And I like what you mentioned about the fact that now that it is PHPC, there will be no conversion whatsoever. And you know what, Jeff? I think the one of the biggest possibility for this, or the biggest advantage, is on accounting purposes and tax purposes. Especially if you're a merchant, even if you accept USDT or US dollars, there's still, I don't know, at least on my company, there's still a lot of complications on that one. So with the PHPC and in lieu or with the network effect of Ronin here in the Philippines, merchants can actually start using it, no? And I think for me, that's the primary use case, especially for merchants and all the people that are playing right now. So I guess my next question to you, of course, on Ronin, there's already USDC, and I'm not sure. Perhaps you're also in discussions, of course, with other stablecoins or stablecoin issuers. No? So for you, Jeff, what do you think is the most unique thing, or what makes the PHPC listing on Ronin unique versus other stablecoins that are already there in Ronin and other stablecoins that you will be onboarding in the future?
Well, the clearly unique thing here is that the Philippines peso opens so many use cases, right, for merchants to integrate the Ronin wallet and for our players to have a smoother onboarding and offboarding experience. And I commend CoinsPH for seeing the opportunity to do something really special here, because not everyone understands the Ronin effect. No, not everyone understands the power of the Philippines in Web3. And it's possible, right, that even CoinsPH could have discounted the Ronin network and this community, but they didn't. They didn't. And they knew that we were the best launch partner for this really special product. And yeah, I congratulate them for really making this happen and bringing the Philippine Peso stablecoin to the beating heart of Web3 gaming and the beating heart of Web3 in general in the Philippines.
All right. Thank you so much. No. Later, to our listeners and viewers, once we is here, we can discuss also more on their side on the listing of PHPC, the first peso regulated stablecoin, now on coins and now also on DEX like on the Ronin. So there is this particular question from Jeff, no, from what's this? Hi, Master Zion. Shout out to you who's watching with us on Twitter. I guess this will be a, I don't know. But is it possible to soon to buy Ronin NFTs or assets using PHPC without converting it to other tokens? So will this be something in your pipeline, Jeff?
It's a possibility. I don't want to make product promises because this is something that's very new and we need to experiment. We need to see the demand. We need to see, are we too early with this product right now, to really press the gas on it, or is there massive demand for it, right? So I don't want to make product promises, and I don't want to make promises about things that I don't know the answer to.
All right. So there you heard it from Jeff from Jihoz. This is a possibility in the future perhaps, but they will need to check the demand. Of course, they cannot of course open up a new product without studying it first. So yeah, hold on. Okay, so shout out to all the people who are here with us on our webcast. We have GJ Aleba, we have Zorn, we have Kit Jorbina. Um, there are now questions for Axie related or Ronin related as well, and also to Kit. I mean, Kit also has a question about the cap of PHPC token. Maybe Jeff is this something you can answer? Is like the cap PHPC token under the Ronin chain? Is there a cap on that one?
Mm, there, not that I'm aware of right now, to be honest.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. All right. So yeah, thank you guys now for sharing your questions, and of course please keep them coming so that Jeff and Gio or Jeff and Wei will be able to answer that. No? So maybe while we wait for Wei Jeff, no, maybe we can go to Sky Mavis and maybe general coins related questions. I purposely made my question shorter because I know there will be lots of questions from our users. This is a question from GJ Aleba. No? So on the advantages of Ronin network than any other network right now in Web3. So Jeff mentioned earlier about the fact that it is the most used gaming chain at the moment, and perhaps one of the most used blockchain in general. So Jeff, maybe you can expound on this one. What are the advantages of the Ronin network than any network right now in Web3?
The advantage of the Ronin network is the Ronin community. Most blockchains don't have users. all gaming chains don't have users except for the Ronin network. So if you want to make a game that's actually successful and that's actually played by people, right? So if you're a serious game developer, if you're a serious application developer, what you want is for people to be using your products. And that's also how you have a much larger outcome in the long run, if you're thinking like that. And is actually have adoption, is to actually have people using your products. And that's what we specialize in, is basically, right, we are the home of the actual Web3 gaming users, thanks to the Philippines in large part. And we can help get people to care about your applications and games. And this has been seen many times. This is most clearly demonstrated by Pixels. Pixels was on Polygon, now actually our friend and our ally. Thank you to Polygon. But gaming is not their specialty. When Pixels, which was the most successful game on Polygon, it had 5,000 DAU. When it moved to the Ronin network, we saw it go from 5,000 to over 1 million DAU, right? So I think that clearly demonstrates the power of the Ronin network, but more importantly, this community. Technology, literally in Web3, all code is open source. What does that mean? That means that there are no penalties for copying it. That means there is literally no competitive advantage with code, because as soon as even if you deploy some new code, now everyone else has your code. So community and distribution are the only defendable and defensible competitive advantages in the long run. This is why they say distribution is king.
Yes, distribution is king, no? Actually, Jeff, no, one of our prepared articles in the future is when games actually before and after they get announced to be listed on Ronin. So one of the network effect I immediately see, or what we immediately see at BitPinas, is the number of followers and the number of engagements and all immediately before and after they got announced that they will be getting onboarded to Ronin. So I guess that is correct on what you mentioned, and to the person that asked earlier, the most important advantage of this one is actually the network effect. The fact that there are gamers and there are people that are using the Ronin blockchain, especially here in the Philippines, and probably that is also the reason why Coins.ph first listed or first in the I forgot the word now, but first listed PHPC on the Ronin network. So Jeff, going back to Ronin, no, I mean to the PHPC. I also want to know more about the on here. Of course, the regulatory side. On your end, Jeff, is there anything about that? Is there any regulatory issue on listing like a national currency stablecoin on the Ronin network? Are there discussions like that?
Are there discussions to bring other stablecoins to
No,
Ronin?
no. I mean, are there issues or any concerns about regulation, given the fact that this is a regulated stable coin that is approved by the central bank here? Are there any concerns on your end about that?
I don't like to comment about regulatory issues other than the best thing that we can do to solve all regulatory issues is to onboard people. When the voters care about crypto, then the regulations will change. This is actually what you're seeing in America, where the current administration believed that the number of crypto holders in America wasn't large enough to swing the election, wasn't large enough to make a difference. They were wrong. And actually, it was the crypto community that really started this groundswell of support towards President Trump. Now everyone supports President Trump basically in America. Probably 70% of people, 80% of people. And it's no longer a fringe thing like when we started in 2015, where we had to hide it, actually. But we saw how in America, the crypto community actually was the first to convert, of the swing voters in this election. Now more have come around. So if we want the regulations to change and we want the politicians to be favorable, then let's onboard people, right? And let's tell our politicians that we care about it. If we live in democracies, which I hope most of us live in, then that will have an effect.
Yes, totally. No, I agree with you, Jeff, on that one. And actually, here, when this PHPC was first announced by Coins.ph, some people are very shocked because this is something that is approved by the central bank, which is something that was never done before. Because there were other company Peso Stablecoin issuers here, and they never got traction, or at least some also are approved by the central bank, but was never into retail, unlike this one. So more into that, I would like to now put up on stage the CEO of Coins.ph, Wei Zhou. Um, Hi, Wei. Welcome again to the BitPinas
Hey,
webcast
Michael.
together here with Jeff. All right. So yeah, we were Jeff and I were discussing about the PHPC on the Ronin blockchain, and particularly on their side of the discussion. So my first question to you, Wei, is actually like how the PHPC actually came about on your end at Const.ph. Why did you decide to have the PHPC stable coin? And what do you think is the significance of this to of the PHPC stablecoin to Const.ph and to the wider crypto community?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. If you look at Philippines as a whole, in addition to sort of being an important country for crypto and Web3 gaming, it's also a very important country for remittance, and then remittance play a pretty big role in our economy. I think there's about 10 million Filipinos that work overseas, and that brings in, I think, like 30-40 billion dollars of just retail remittance back home, and that's like, represents almost close to 10% of the overall GDP of the country. And then when I took over Coins, that was a remittance uh, through crypto rails was a big part of our sort of overall planning and business strategy. And what we've seen is that with the popular adoption of sort of US dollar stable coins, we thought, hey, why don't we just try to cross that with a peso stablecoin? That would bring, both transparency, because I think one of the things people care about in the remittance market is basically speed and cost, right? And I think crypto solves both of those with both, transparency, speed, and cost. So we thought if we can actually create a peso stablecoin that can cross with the dollar stablecoin, then we can actually bring a lot of cost savings. Right. And then even when we met with the Department of Migrant Laborers here, we're like, right now of that $40 billion, people are paying, say, 5%. It's $2 billion of, just fees that's being paid. If we can reduce that, that's $2 billion that goes into, the pockets of people that are actually doing the remittance. So I think that's sort of the big picture idea. And we basically started talking to our regulators of the BSP about allowing us to do a stablecoin. That this is it's been about a year and a half, I think, in the making. We started the process, I think, about a year and a half ago, until we received the approval, I think, for it in April. But what's really cool is that once we started looking into, other use cases beyond remittance, I think that's one of the sort of the fundamental reasons, I think, why I think the central bank here is actually interested in exploring. Because if you look at it, most central banks in the world aren't really looking at private solutions for stablecoin. Most of them are going after sort of CDBCs, and like, and are going down that road. I don't. Nobody's really come out. So I mean, props to our regulators in terms of sort of being the first central bank in the world that has green light a stable coin for pesos. Right? You're not seeing that in Singapore. You're not seeing that in Japan. You're not seeing that. Even for US, I think a lot of those are private initiatives. But even then, sort of it operates in kind of like a no man's land from a regulatory perspective. I think Hong Kong has kind of like a stablecoin regulation, but it's not really being really put into practice just yet. So I think we're actually the first one that has gone commercial with it. And it's not a closed system that we're operating with. I think we're allowed to, we can issue it on a private blockchain, right? And then have sort of like a trustless system behind it. And this is where we're super, super excited to partner up with Ronin, mainly just because they actually have real users on their chain here in the Philippines, right? And because I think sort of the other interesting point is that that I kind of want to get to is actually what does it mean to be a game player, right? What does it mean to be a Web3? Because I think in the Philippines, if you look at it, you actually have people that are actually playing games and then participating in Web3 on a full-time basis as their job, right? As their career. And then we want to do that just because that brings, new opportunities, right, to people in the Philippines. And one of the cool things here is we can actually put a dollar amount, or actually, if we can actually put a peso amount, right, on their income, on their earnings, and then have that count towards sort of the GDP of the Philippines. I think that could be really cool because then you're like, wait a minute, like we actually have a whole new sector that we're growing at the grassroots level. And then we actually can put a dollar amount on or put a quantity on how big that industry is, like in peso terms, and we can show that, hey, we can, because I think part of it is not necessarily going mainstream with it, but part of it is like, hey, let's get more people to participate in it because this is a real economy, this is a sustainable economy. People are going to pay taxes on it. I think you can't get away from that from an income perspective. But if you can, once you start doing that, then you can actually get real adoption. And I think, and then not just sort of initial adoption, but sort of like actually sustainable sort of growth. And I think that's something that that we thought. I think Web3 is like the perfect one of the perfect settings for us to launch the Peso stablecoin into, and there's no better chain for that than Ronin right now. So sort of that's sort of like the long story short, sort of the origin stories. I think for coins and sort of getting regulatory approval for the stablecoin, and then also looking for product market fit for the stablecoin. I think within the Web3 gaming space.
All right. Thank you so much, for actually a very comprehensive origin story of the PHPC, the Peso stablecoin, and congratulations to you guys for listing it. You mentioned this on the webcast way last May, that you're going to list it in another platform, and here we are. So there are two questions earlier before you arrived. No, the first one, Jeff, now if I can ask Wei first. The key what do you think are the just let me know like one key challenge to get PHPC approved by the regulator. Are there any like reservations at all, or were able to overcome all of those?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the challenges is actually, I think the stablecoin right now is still in a what our regulators call a sandbox environment. So we actually have to make almost like weekly reportings about stablecoin activity in terms of users, in terms of the total amount minted, in terms of transaction cost, etc. So and I think we see that as a way to sort of to show and then the more success that we can show in terms of hitting our initial KPIs, the larger, the more permission we will have, I think, to sort of to operate it more independently. And I think this is where I think initially we had to explain, because right now this Peso stablecoin is issued on Polygon and on Ronin. I think initially one of the challenges is just basically to figure out, in both sort of from a business perspective and from a regulatory perspective, which blockchains do we want to work with, right? I mean, down the road, we would like for the stablecoin to be on more blockchains, because I think and for it to be available on more dexes. So I think initially the challenge is basically explaining who Ronin is, I think, to our regulator. So I think for Ronin, it's like you guys got approved by the BSP for the stablecoin to be issued on, which is pretty cool too.
That's actually really great knowledge. Because I didn't want to assume or say anything like that, and get this isn't true, but I do believe that we are liked by the Filipino regulators. I believe that, and I will will it into existence. Every time that I meet government officials from the Philippines, they always know what Axie is, and they always really are liking Axie. And so yeah, any Filipino politicians that want to become popular with the Axie community, right? Like, you know what to do, and we're starting to see this happen in America. So I really believe that this is something that will happen, and I will contribute to this happening more and more. There is a parable. From the Philippines that I hear every time that I go. There was a senator, and he was walking in a village. He was touring the provinces, and he saw a child in a tree. And he was like, "Why is that kid in a tree?" So he went under the tree, and he looked up, and he shouted, "Hey, why are you in that tree?" And the kid told him that he was in the tree to get better internet to play Axie Infinity. So
Really?
it's those types of
Wow.
interactions. When the politicians see that power, they will understand the strength of our movement and how it can help them.
Yeah, we actually before, no, there was I think in 2021 or 2022 there was actually a politician here who had a Axie Infinity scholarship. I think I don't know, I think a counselor in Manila or something. So yeah, I get what you mean there. No, Jeff. So, and then the last question, someone asked about, is there any max cap or something on the PHPC that is issued that is on the Ronin network? Is there any max amount or something? The question is per way.
I think there is a so right now during the initial sandbox phase, I think, which will last, I think, for about 3 months, there is a cap on the total amount of peso state on the total amount of PHPC in circulation.
All right. So yeah, this is what thank you, Wayne, for the clarification. And one of the things that Zorn mentioned here is that imagine that you pay PHPC in Web3 for working or playing. It's got to be amazing. So yeah, I mentioned also earlier that this will actually simplify the tax and accounting implications, especially, for example, if you are accepting uh, crypto from abroad or something. Maybe you can do that via PHPC. I don't know, but yeah. And then GJ Aleba mentioned about the difference between Peso HPC on Polygon chain. Um, is this I think way earlier mentioned that the PHPC is on Polygon and Ronin. Is that correct?
I'm sorry.
You mentioned earlier that the PHPC stablecoin is on Ronin and on Polygon.
It's on Ronin and Polygon, correct, right now. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So there are now more questions that are coin space related and Axie or Ronin PH related. Thank you guys for being here. We are going to take a break. I think a 5 or 10 minute break. We'll put you guys below our station. Now it's time for our trivia Q&A. So do not forget, Wei and Jihoz will still be returning for our webcast. But now it's time for our trivia Q&A together with our trivia master, Michael Lance. So, hi Lance, kamusta ka? Na-enjoy mo ba yung ating discussion?
Of course, no? I'm so excited with this Peso stablecoin and how do you utilize the RON blockchain platform, no, to build your Web3 projects and games, no? So hopefully you learned a lot in our discussion this evening. Okay? So once again, no, we will be giving away 2 RON, okay? Not the 2 RON. Okay, but rather we will give away 2 RON sa cryptocurrency for those who will answer our trivia question and answer correctly. And we will also select so we will select 4 winners of 2 RON, no, who will answer our trivia questions, and we will select another 2 winners who will be participating in the comments section. So once again, my name is Michael Lance, your trivia master for tonight, and you're tuning into BitPinas webcast together with Wei of Coins.ph and Prof. Jihoz. Okay? So, are you ready to win to Ron? But before that, you need to follow our Facebook fan page at BitPinas and share this live stream publicly, no, on your Facebook profile. Okay? So, are you ready for our first question? You need to answer our questions correctly in the comment section of our Facebook live stream. Again, follow BitPinas and share our live stream publicly. Not only for friends, but for public. Okay? So, first question. Our first question is, name one cryptocurrency that is both available on coins.ph and Ronin. Name one cryptocurrency that is both available on coins.ph and Ronin. Okay, so type in the correct answer in our comment section of the Facebook live stream, like our Facebook fan page at BitPinas, and share this live stream publicly on your Facebook profile. So name one cryptocurrency that is both available on coins.ph and Ronin. Okay, so our second question is, name one Web3 game on the Ronin network that is not Axie Infinity. Okay, so name one Web3 game on the Ronin network that is not Axie Infinity. Okay, so type in to our chat box in our Facebook live stream. Okay, we will be announcing the winners after the live stream. Okay, so once again, name one Web3 game on the Ronin network that is not Axie Infinity. Type in the correct answer. So that's it in our first set of trivia questions. Don't worry if you don't win, you have another chance in our second round. Don't forget that you could also win if you will participate in the comments section. All right, so this is Michael Lance, your trivia master for tonight. And let's go back to our conversation with Michael.
All right, thank you so much, Lance, no, for the trivia Q&A at sa ating mga nanonood right now at meron tayong kasunod na trivia Q&A after. At pwede rin kayo manalo by participating dito sa atin sa comment section. So once again, you are watching the BitPinas webcast together with the co-founder of Axie Infinity, Jeff Zirlin, also known as Jihoz, and the co-founder or the CEO of Coins.ph, Wei Zhou. So Lance, do you have a question for Jeff and or Wei? And now we're going to bring them up on stage. There.
Okay, good. I have a question. Do you think that since we already have this Peso Stablecoin, do you think that CBDC would be the next one in the future? Or how long or short it is if we're expecting that sometime in the future?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. Maybe we can answer on the Philippine side, and then Jeff, on the US side, if there's any development on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
CDBC is whatever the form. Yeah, can you guys hear me? Okay. Yeah, I think CDBC at the end of the day is in the banking world, what they call a wholesale solution is that it's not a retail solution. Like CDBC, whatever the form is going to take, is going to end up being like a settlement currency, maybe between the central bank and the different banks, amongst the bank themselves and other financial institutions. I doubt, CDBC will be implemented at the retail level. And I'll tell you the reason for that is that it's just too many service providers. Central banks can't tell the difference from A to B to C to D, because because the way they're treating CDBC is that they're treating it as just another vendor, right? They're treating it as like a technology solution to a problem that they probably don't really see or need, right? Even if you look at Singapore, right, which MAS is playing around choosing different vendors and doing all this and that. So and even if you look at the Philippines, you're like what vendors are they going to use for the CDBC? Like if it's not a native blockchain company, then it's just a private blockchain. Then that's not what crypto is all about. I think it's just a different world versus the world that we're in, right? Where I think for us, it's like basically public blockchains with on-chain transactions that you can see and monitor. It's much more transparent. So you already have like a public, already have sort of like a private solution. You don't really need like a public solution. Yeah. And I think the other issue with the CDBC is that the beauty, say, of issuing on Ronin is that the blockchain is global, right? Anybody, any user anywhere in the world can actually access it. Whereas, like if you look at CDBC, then it's like a very Philippine-specific solution. I doubt Filipinos outside of the Philippines can use that.
That's a good thought, no? The Filipino users outside the Philippines. So, how about you, Jeff? No, is there any development on CBDC on the US side?
President Trump has said that he does not want that to happen, so it will not happen. That's my basically the way that I'm thinking about this issue. There is no need for it. So why there is no need.
Wait, are you saying something?
Jeff is making a really good point. I think the Republicans will not allow for it, which is what we're seeing right now. If you have the Republicans winning this election, I don't think you're going to see CBDCs in the U.S.
And
at least for 4 more years.
So this is how it is, right? Like the Republicans will win, or right, if some weird thing happens, right? It's like the Democrats will barely win. Maybe they'll win there's a 20% chance or something that they'll win the presidency, but still lose, right, the Senate and the House. In that case, they would not be able to pass any legislation, right? A CDC is like, for both parties, thinking about this is pretty far down the priorities list. And right, the larger of a majority that you have, right, the more of your task list you can think of it as OKRs, right? Like the more of your OKRs you can actually accomplish during your 2 years of power. And so, right, it's like, it doesn't seem like, it seems like the Republicans will win. They will have other priorities, and they've already said that we don't want we don't want this. And it just sounds like something that, there's no political will or understanding to be able to execute something like that anyway. So, ambitious changes to a nation's monetary system require people to have buy-in and require pretty smart thinkers like Alexander Hamilton. There are no world leaders in the world at this point who are like visionaries like Alexander Hamilton. All of the monetary visionary people are in crypto, and so none of these people are working right in the Treasury Department and the central banks and things like that. There's nobody who can pull this off, and there's no political will to do it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for indulging that question, Jeff, and Wei. Thank you, Lance, for the trivia Q&A. Now I will bring you down on our stage. So just one moment. No, someone was asking about if they can win on Twitter. So all you have to do is RT the webcast that is going live there on Twitter. No, so shout out to you guys and thank you for joining us here. And then the winner of the last webcast also we can announce tomorrow. No, that is the question from Calvin Solis. Shout out to you guys, Ibax, Asuelo, Michelle, Paswa. These are regular BitPinas viewers. No, thank you guys for joining us as well. There's also Ellie. So this could be one of my last few questions about the stablecoin, the PHPC stablecoin. No? So I want you guys to just give me like the one best use case for PHPC that is now that it is on the Ronin blockchain. So I mentioned earlier that I guess for me my best use case the best use case for me is the streamlining of the accounting, no, the accounting and the tax issue. I mean, if ever it will use in future maybe also by merchants, no, instead of using SLP or USDC, there will be some conversion on that end. There will be some complications with accounting. yeah, the accounting issue is the best use case for that. So how about you? I guess we begin with Wei first. The best use case of PHPC now that it is on the Ronin blockchain.
Yeah, I think one use case is that I want to say is that yeah, if you hold PHPC on coins, we're gonna start giving away yield on it if you hold PHPC on coins. I think that's going to be a really cool feature. I think historically we've had a HODL and earn campaign with the USDC, but we're going to swap that over to PHPC going forward.
I see. So yeah, so coins that teaches this hodl and earn, and then they will swap that to courses to PHPC in the future. So how about you, Jeff? The best use case for PHPC now that it is on the Ronin blockchain?
I believe that the best use case will be around merchant adoption. And we want to work with partners like Lazada, like Shopee for eventually Ronin wallet integration, right? When the majority of Southeast Asians are on the Ronin network, they will be forced to do a Ronin wallet integration. But in those cases, right, it will be complex for them to accept RON, to accept ETH, right? Even to accept USDC. So in these cases, and from our talks with e-commerce giants, right, the largest single hurdle to Ronin wallet integration is actually not the technical complexity, it's the currency fluctuations. So by bringing on PHPC and all other potentially Southeast Asian currencies onto the Ronin chain, it'll actually set us up for these e-commerce integrations. And I think that's important, right? Because that creates the circular economy that creates this link between gaming, e-commerce, payments that is actually already well established. Where we see that the largest Southeast Asian company or Singaporean company, I guess Singapore is part of Southeast Asia, right? C Group. What did they do, right? You have Garena, you have the game, and then you have Shopee, and then you have their CPay, right? But we can be much bigger than that because they're kind of limited, right, to these local markets, whereas Ronin has a global player base and it's infinitely globally scalable.
Yeah. I also agree, no, and I guess on the retail side, perhaps if there are still, of course, there are managers, scholars as well. Why not just give them like the PHPC, and which they will transfer from the Ronin blockchain or to the Ronin wallet, from the Ronin wallet to the coins to their coins account. So I see those particular use cases as well, which we actually detailed in the article that we published about the launch of PHPC on the Ronin blockchain. So now we have these questions that are a bit coins that page specific and a bit Ronin specific, no, and then also some PHPC specific. I guess this is a question for Wei. Like, what do you see? The question is from Zor, no, again from Twitter. Thank you guys for watching, no. What do you see for PHPC in the future, or what will be the road to keep PHPC on top, or how do you answer this question?
Yeah, I mean, it actually echoes what Jeff said. Is like if we can use this in daily commerce activities, because I think right now, like what would be really cool is like I think Ronin probably has like 1 million wallets in the Philippines at one point, right? Like what if merchants now can use, instead of using, I think right now it presents as an alternative in terms of doing payments. And then I think what I would really like to see is that if merchants in the Philippines start actively accepting PHPC, right, and then they can use either coins or they can use Ronin wallets to do so. And I think that's something that I'm really looking forward in terms of like I can actually seamlessly swap my USDC into PHPC and then actually start spending that. But I think with coins you can start doing that with Peso directly. But what's really cool here is that for merchants, you can actually get the money in real time rather than sort of waiting that T+2, T+3 settlement time with traditional payments. And I think that's something that we will start educating some of the merchants. We actually have some partnerships with some merchants kind of lined up already. So we would love to work together with Ronin, sort of to really push that out into the real world.
All right. Thank you so much, we know, and I think you mentioned the very long transaction time. I guess if you have a relative abroad and sending money here, it's actually still it is still a very real problem, especially I guess for the people who are not into crypto or not really well versed into even e-wallets. No? So that is really still a problem. So I'm happy to hear that you guys have actually talked to the migrant or to the workers to the migrant workers agency here. So this Jeff is the question from NFTX Street. You might remember them. Jeff maybe born the people from the NFTX Street community. This is a bit not PHPC specific, but I want you guys, I guess Jeff first and then Wei to answer this question. Again, this is a bit okay, so I can't see Wei anymore, no? Sorry about that, but Jeff, can you read this or I mean, are able to read this one? So he mentioned NFTX Street that they set up a gaming hub in Manila, which has been featured in the New York Times and many and the France 24 News. No? So this is a big story, and their primary focus is actually on playing Ronin games. So this is what they said. No? So while we receive a variety of opinions, we've noticed that the Western audience still harbor significant doubts about our movement, which aims to onboard our players to Web3. Given Jeff's strong support to Filipino players, my question is, what do you think will be the catalyst that will eventually lead to the global audience? I guess to the global audience finally accepting this movement. Jeff, maybe can you answer this question? And then Wei, maybe you can also answer this question after.
Well, I would question why it's so important to have Western approval. Why do we need Western approval for this movement? Movements are, the definition of a movement is you are united by something that's beneficial for the world, and you have like doubters, and not everyone is a part of it, and there will be naysayers on the sidelines for sure. That's actually a characteristic of any movement, and there are many Western Ronin community members. I'll also say, and they're going to be a smaller part of the network, but the West is also a smaller portion of the world's population. How many people live in the West? Not that many, to be honest, right? Relative to the rest of the world. And so, there's going to be, there will be some skepticism. There's skepticism in the West towards crypto, especially now, right? All the people who hate President Trump are now going to become crypto haters as well. Are people going to be like, oh, why are all these people hating crypto, right? Like, there is a very loud and vocal minority of people. The people who are fine with crypto, the people who like crypto, right? You kind of already know about them. You see them, or they're just going about living their lives. They're not complaining about it on social media.
All right. Before I'll say my piece now, maybe Wei, you can answer this first. I also have something to say.
I don't know, man. Like, people don't see the world. Like, if you don't go get up and go out and see the world, like, you're obviously gonna have doubts about everything. so it's just kind of like yeah, I mean, people still don't believe in Web3 games because they still want to play, console games, right? Because I still remember when mobile games came out, like, people were like shitting on mobile games, be like, oh yeah, user experience is terrible. Why would I even play mobile games on a small screen? I'd play console games, or I play PC games, right? It's a different platform, different module, different economics, So I just think like there's going to be naysayers along the way. I would say focus on building your own community, focus on building your own sort of your own brand, focus on building your own social media. If you will hate on it, just ignore them.
Gamers complain. If gamers aren't complaining about something, then it's not fucking relevant, right? Like, that's an attribute of gamers. They complain. And also, I would say, right, in the West, gamers are more unhealthy. They're, a little bit more unhealthy. They're not as active. They're not as mentally healthy. So, as a group compared to gamers in the rest of the world, where gaming is just something that everyday people are doing. Actually, in the West, right, like the hardcore gamers that really care about this stuff, they're kind of like, I would say, like a volatile group of humans.
All right. Yeah. I remember this particular conversation on Twitter. So I totally agree with you guys. No, that perhaps we actually do not need the validation of the Western audience or those who identify themselves as legit gamers or something to actually do what we are doing here. And I remember the conversation before. There are a lot of users. They can see it on the blockchain, but are these people bots? No, so that was the first conversation. And then there are events like the YGG events, for example, that actually prove that these are not bots. And then the next narrative is, are these people are paying gamers, so the people who are actually spending money on games, no? Because I guess that's also important. And then there are now actually studies, no, that actually prove, or research actually proves that the people in Web3 are actually also spending, especially the things that are happening right now in games. So yeah, I totally agree. No, that perhaps there is no need to actually need the validation of those people. Maybe they will join this movement in the future. Maybe they will not, but that's okay. So we cue this with how the revolution of the gaming happened with the mobile, with the console, and then transition to mobile and all. So yeah,
The data,
yeah,
I have
yeah.
the data right here for you. Like, this is a BitPinas exclusive, right? So I got the data. We're doing some planning right now. So I have all the data pulled up for you. So in the first
Wow.
6 months of 2024, there was $18.3 million in Mavis market volume. That's up from 964,000 in this last 6 months of 2023, right? So that's a couple thousand% increase. Projects on the Ronin network were also able to raise over $5 million on the Mavis store and the Mavis Launchpad by selling NFTs. This is in a market environment where most NFT projects are giving out NFTs for free, or if they have the arrogance to try to sell NFTs not on the Ronin network, they are failing. And so people are saying these are bots, but actually Ronin network is exhibiting some of the most consistent spending behavior and purchasing behavior in all of NFTs, if not the strongest. We also saw app.axie volume increase from 11 million in the last 6 months of 2023 to 15 million in the first 6 months of 2024. So volume is actually up. NFTs are selling out. You go to the Philippines and you talk to people on the street and they know about Axie Infinity and the Ronin network. What more do you want? So these people they probably will not understand. That's okay, right? Like, I don't have the time. As Satoshi said, right? If you don't get it, it's okay. I don't have the fucking time to explain it to you.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, no, for this. Jeff, Wei and Jeff, no, and you give us an exclusive, and I think we will be I hope my writers are already here, no, on our webcast. But thank you so much also for that. For sure, that will be published at some point on our webcast. So I see a lot of users here, our users are. Our listeners who are also checking about Coins.ph, and I'm happy to see that there are coins champions on our comment section, helping guys get onboarded to Ronin and also to Coins. So this has been a very interesting conversation with you guys about PHPC. The questions that I want to ask since May has been answered. Thank you guys, and also thank you for indulging the questions about CBDC and the questions that are specific to Coins and also specific to Ronin. So is there anything else? We begin with Wayne. Is there anything else that that I haven't mentioned that you would like to say to our audience? Any future plans that you would like to share?
Yeah, I encourage you to sort of go and our users to go to coins.ph, convert some PHPC, into PHPC, and also go check out the ROM PHPC trading pair under the Katana DEX, which was launched I think today as well. Try it out, and then give us feedback for your experience, and then we hope to push out wider adoption for the PHPC stablecoin, I think, in the Philippines, and I think also the other one, I hope down the road, hopefully this year, we'll see PHPC being listed on sort of other international exchanges as well.
All right. Thank you, Wei. No? So yeah, to our viewers, to our listeners, the PHPC pair is also live on Katana, the decentralized exchange on the Ronin blockchain. So I sort of forgot that I Kat mentioned it earlier. So how about you, Jeff? Anything else that you would like to share to our audience who are here? Any future plans? Any leaks? Anything, Jeff? And then also thank you for joining us here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Michael. It's been a joy. I think I've known you for 5 years now. And yeah, I remember you winning an Origin Axie at, basically the first Axie meetup in the Philippines way back in, let's say, 2019. Gabby was there. Yeah, it was still in the Loom Network days. So yeah, thanks for all of your support. Thanks for everything that you're doing. Thank you, BitPinas. Thank you, Coins. It's been a pleasure. This is our first kind of interview together, Wei. So yeah, it's been a joy. Yeah, to the Axie community. Yeah, I'm going to the meetup in Homeland. Meet me there. I'm going right now I'm not sure. I need to check which of the villages it's in. It's in Hazy Moon Village. It just started 8 minutes ago, so I'm gonna go over there right now. Come see me. Let's take a selfie. Yeah, anyone can play, so you don't need to own land. This is a new mode that we're opening up in Homeland. So come hang out. Let's take some pictures. Let's try it out. And yeah, I'll see you in Lunacia.
All right, thank you guys. And Zorn said they are already waiting for you on in there now. So yeah, thank you so much, Wade. Thank you so much, Jeff. Now, so it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us. So guys, on our BitPinas webcast, we just heard Wei Zhou and Jeff Zirlin of Axie or of Sky Mavis talk about the future of Ronin blockchain or the PHPC on the Ronin blockchain. So now it is time for our final trivia Q&A. We are bringing up again Michael Lance to our on the stage. Hi Lance, I hope na kamusta? Ano masabi mo sa ating pinag-usapan?
Malaki ang future, no? Malaki ang Tagalog na, no?
Oo, pwede na mag-Tagalog.
Laki-laki ng future, no? We have a big future of Web3 in the Philippines, no? Kaya ano pang inaantay nyo, no? Bumili na tayo ng Peso Stablecoin sa Coins.ph. So yun. Yeah, sige, go on, Michael.
Trivia Q&A na.
Q&A na. O, sige.
Oo, yung last Q&A natin.
Pero, teka, bago lang, okay lang ba mag-shoutout lang, no? Babatiin ko lang.
Tayo sa
babatiin ko lang ang DevCon Philippines tsaka ang ICP Hub PH, no, sa pag-organize ng isa sa mga Web3 Code Camp nila sa Central Philippine University sa Iloilo. So congratulations, no? So, kasi nagturo sila ng software development through the blockchain sa mga estudyante. Okay. So are you ready for our the last set of trivia questions and answers, no? Again, no, for this webcast, we will be giving away 2 RON, okay? For those who will win, we will select 4 winners who will answer our questions correctly in the trivia questions. We will ask 4 trivia questions and we will select 1 winner per each question. And we will select 2 winners who will participate in the comment section, no? So once again, do not forget to follow BitPinas and share this live stream publicly. So you will be notified.
Also nga pala, the people who are on Twitter, kasali din kayo, no? All you have to do is retweet the basically the stream there, okay? Sige.
So i-clear lang namin, no? Kasali ang Twitter sa mananalo. So for Twitter, you need to follow BitPinas and share the live stream on Twitter. I-retweet ninyo, no? I-retweet ninyo sa inyong profile. Sa X pala, no? Sa X. 'Di ba, Michael? X na pala, no? So do not forget to follow nyo lahat sa social media, no? Sa Facebook, sa X, at saka sa iba pa, no? Para manalo. Okay? So again, we will be giving away 2 RON for those who will win the Q&A and for participating in the comment section. Okay? So are you ready for our third trivia question? Sige. So our third trivia question is, what is the name? Okay? What is the name of the Peso Stablecoin of Coins.ph that is now available on Ronin? What is the name of the Peso Stablecoin of Coins.ph that is now available on Ronin? So kailangan tama, no, Michael, no, tama ang spelling. Okay? Kailangan tama po yung spelling ng sagot. Okay? So in Facebook, you will type the correct answer in our Facebook live stream. And in X, meron din tayong Michael, meron din tayong mga subscribers sa YouTube, no? So ang gagawin ninyo ay ita-type din ninyo yung tamang sagot sa comment section. Okay? X, YouTube, tsaka Facebook. Sabi ko sana X, YouTube, tsaka Twitter. No? Okay? So, ayan sagutin nyo ng tama. Then, our last trivia question. Ayan. Are you ready for our last trivia question? Okay? So, the last trivia question is, what is the name of the Sky Mavis developed blockchain? What is the name of the Sky Mavis developed blockchain? So, again, paki-type sa ating mga comment section ang tamang sagot. Type the correct answer on the comment section. Don't forget to follow BitPinas and share our live stream publicly on your Facebook or X profile in order to win. Now, that's it. Thank you so much for joining. No? Palakpakan natin ating mga sarili. No? Natuto tayo, mananalo pa tayo ng 2 RON. Hey! So that's it for our trivia Q&A. So don't worry if you don't win. You can still win in the comment section if you ask questions or interact with us during the AMA. Okay? So don't be discouraged if you don't get the correct answers. Don't forget to follow BitPinas and share this live stream so that you will be notified when you won. We will be announcing the winners in our social media. Hey! Michael, hey!
All right. No, thank you for joining itong ating trivia Q&A. At siguro another shout out lang kasi tayo sa BitPinas pupunta tayo sa Davao next week para makisalamuha sa Davao community there. And then bukas naman yung sa Tesos community naman sa Twitter space. So keep on following BitPinas for news and updates. Available tayo sa social media, sa Facebook, sa X, and even sa YouTube. So maraming salamat sa mga nanonood ngayon dito sa atin sa BitPinas webcast. Thank you to Wei Zhou, of course, sa TH, and also to Jeff Zirlin or Jihoz of Sky Mavis for joining us dito sa atin sa webcast. Thank you to Henry of Big Shares who also supported who keeps on supporting our webcast also. And then to the BitPinas staff, of course, ating previous contributor na sila sa ating trivia master, to our writers, Sheila and Nate. And shout out to my girlfriend, Ayan, who is also watching right now dito sa atin sa webcast. So maraming salamat. Makita-kita tayo ulit sa susunod na episode ng ating BitPinas webcast. Magandang gabi sa lahat. Thank you.